This video is an important one. It might even be a video that changes your life because what I'm about to go through certainly changed mine. I am making this video in some respects as a response to many finance YouTubers within the last couple of weeks that have almost unanimously been creating videos named Stop Investing, Reasons Not to Invest in 2022, my personal favorite, I'm going to stop investing. Now, these videos have not only just popped up on my own YouTube feed by very well-known YouTubers in this space, but it's also coming up in videos that I can see in analytics of people who subscribe to this channel that are then going on to watch these videos too. So I know that many of you need to hear this. So I guess this is my way of letting you know that I'm definitely not going to be following the herd on this one, and I'm going to do exactly what I set out to do and exactly what I learned to do when it comes to investing from the beginning. Before we get into it though, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so that you're notified when another video drops. So I'm going to start with the reasons why you need to invest, and you need to do it now, regardless of your current age. And I'm going to assume that if you're watching this, that you're old enough to have a bank account and also you have some sort of access to the internet. Although there is one important caveat, and I recommend you only start investing once you have no bad debt. Bad debt being money you owe on something that you use somebody else's money for that goes down in value. Now, this includes loans, credit cards, or anything that has a minimum payment, including buy now, pay later, like Klarna. Whew. God, I hate that stuff. Many finance YouTubers are going to tell you that it's absolutely fine to have debt and invest all at the same time. You can do basically anything at the same time. But it's clear that these people are just trying to appeal to a wider audience. The hard truth is that you're not ready to invest if you're in the financial mindset of getting yourself into bad debt. We need to address this first and get that part done. Check out this video if you want to see more on that subject. So let's get back to why you need to invest your hard-earned money. And then at the end of this video, I'll walk you through how easy it is to get started. One word: inflation. The cost of living increasing over time gradually usually happens silently without you noticing, and all of a sudden a Freddo costs 26p. And yes, that is a graph showing you the increased cost of a Freddo since the year 2000. More than ever, at the moment, you're going to be feeling inflation in action. And as I record this in April 2022, inflation is expected to exceed 8%. Madness. And this, combined with the current best 1% interest rate that you're going to get in a savings or current account, you're guaranteed to lose around 7% of your money. So you're probably already starting to see that the cost of not investing is a heck of a lot more than the risk of starting to invest. So you need to find a way of making at least 7% return on your money just to keep the value of your money over time. And a good way to think of this is to find a way to store the current value of your money, keeping its buying power over time, even when things inevitably get more expensive. We get force-fed all the time that it's just normal for things to increase in value over time and that our salaries will also go up at the same time. But they don't, do they? Trust me, I know. Try being a police officer in the height of the pandemic and the government freezing your pay. Am I bitter? So you might be asking yourself then, how on earth do you guarantee a 7% return on your money? Well, put simply, there are no guarantees. You will need to take an element of risk to get a higher return. Now, I think this is a good point to pause and briefly remind you that nothing in this video is financial advice and that is solely for educational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just somebody who knew nothing about investing just 3 years ago, but managed to get myself out of debt and now invest. And I'm on the trajectory to be a millionaire in the future. So back to that scary word, risk. Generally speaking, the higher the risk, the higher the potential rewards. And we all have different tolerances to risk, and this is something that you're going to need to think about before you start investing. The general consensus when it comes to investing is that the higher percentage of your money that goes into stocks or things like crypto, the riskier it's going to be. And the more you invest in bonds, which are essentially just government-backed debt, the safer it's going to be. Remember that when you buy stocks, you are literally buying a portion of a company. You become a shareholder, and it might be such a small percentage that you can't influence anything, but I believe it's important to remember that fact, as it's going to help you make better decisions before you invest in something. And obviously that comes with added risk. But remember, you could, and truthfully, you should buy funds of stocks known as index funds, where you spread your money across hundreds of stocks rather than just one. And that is the best way to lower your risk when investing in the stock market and storing your value over time. You're basically saying, in the long term, I think the stock market will go up, like it always has. Another way of storing the value of your money over time would be buying property, as generally the prices of houses go up, meaning you can keep your purchasing power against the house. And this is just how wealthy people think. They think of ways to multiply their money to ensure their stores of money increase. Generally, the poor mindset here, or the opposite side, will be thinking about, let's make a big income now and buy things that usually go down in value, like expensive German cars. So then, how should you invest? Well, 3 words: dollar cost averaging. And it simply means to invest in the stock market on a regular basis, usually monthly, whatever you can afford, no matter what the stock or fund price is. Now, by doing this, some months you're going to pay a premium when the stock market is doing really well, and then when the stock market is down, you're going to be getting stocks at a discount. And all this does is smooth the roller coaster over time. And this is the reason why I wanted to create this video in the first place. The videos that you might even see pop up after you watch this video might be telling you that it's a terrible time to get into investing. The stock market's in a dip, there's uncertain times about what's going to happen globally, not just economically, but potential war. And this is pure speculation, something that I actively avoid, and I recommend you do the same. Reading the scaremongering in the newspapers and watching it on TV is only going to influence your feelings about how you invest. You may even get the urge to try and time the market by listening to somebody that sounds really smart telling you exactly what's going to happen in the future, even though we all know nobody knows. And statistically, these so-called professionals are almost always wrong. So your best bet then is to be consistent with your investing and let your investments just build up over time, because that's what you need: time. And this is where the magical power of the compound effect comes into play. The idea that small, consistent choices will result in huge changes over time. The seemingly insignificant choices that we make daily can create big changes in your life. It could be for the good, or it could be for the bad. If you decide to make poor food decisions on a daily basis over a couple of months, you're going to get fat. If you go to the gym and lift weights 3 days a week, you drink lots of water and have protein, you're going to gain muscle. And the same thing applies to your finances, and in particular, investing. Okay, so now that you know why you need to invest, how do you do it? I know there's going to be plenty of people watching this that haven't invested a penny before, and you may even view this as gambling or something that only rich people do, because I know that's what I thought. But I am proof that that is not true. In just 2 years, I can already see the compound effect in action. And I've gone from somebody who never invested a penny to having more than £15,000 invested in the stock market. And if you told me 3 years ago that that's the situation I'd be in, there's no way I would have believed you. The trick is to just get started. The best time to start investing was when you were 18, but the next best time is today. The consensus when it comes to investing is you shouldn't invest your money that you need in the short term. You should think of the time horizon of investing at the bare minimum of 5 to 10 years. And if you need this money before that period, you need to keep it somewhere else. So I've distilled down the process of getting started with investing in 3 steps. Now remember, this isn't advice, this is just what I did and worked for me. Firstly, you need to start by choosing a platform. It's never been easier and quicker to set up an investment account. You can literally do it in 5 minutes and then you're ready to go. So I use Vanguard, but there are tons of other platforms to choose from. Just do your research, take a look at the fees, and then get going. You want to start with a stocks and shares ISA. This allows you to invest your money tax-free, and you can utilize your £20,000 annual ISA allowance. Think about it as a cash ISA, but you can invest in stocks and shares in it. These awesome accounts just aren't talked about enough in the mainstream. And if you want to know a little bit more about ISAs, check out this video. If you are lucky enough to max out your £20,000 allowance, congrats, you're smashing life. Well done. But for most of us, that's not going to be the case. If you are in this situation, then you need to move on to a general investment account, or a GIA, which is just a regular investment account that you're going to be subjected to taxes, such as capital gains tax. Basically, start investing in a stocks and shares ISA, and that's likely the only account that you're going to need. Then you're going to consider your risk and choose a fund. So as I mentioned earlier, you need to consider how much risk you're prepared to take. But that also means you need to think how you're going to feel if you were to log on to your online account and see that you're 20% down on your portfolio. Are you going to panic and sell your stocks out of emotion? Or do you think that you can remind yourself that the ups and downs are just part of the journey, and you're probably going to just want to buy more stocks at a discount? I think as you get used to investing, you naturally just shift towards the latter. and it's definitely where I am now. It definitely helps your time horizon shift to the long term. So pick a globally diversified fund. And by that, I mean a fund that holds stocks from all over the world, ensuring that there's a high proportion of the money invested in countries like the US and the UK, because that is where the big stock markets are. There are tons of funds out there. I use the Life Strategy 100 with Vanguard, but there's plenty to choose from. So just do your research. And again, don't get hung up on trying to choose the perfect fund. It doesn't exist. So once you set up an account on a platform of your choice, you've chosen what fund you want to invest in, it's time to pick an amount that you're comfortable to start investing with, and then automate the process. If you find yourself worrying about how much you need to start with, just start small. When I started, I had used Moneybox, and they've got a feature where you can round up your change. So I was literally investing pennies. So I gradually built up to £50 a month, then £100 a month, and now £200 a month. At each one of those steps, you just get comfortable, you get used to it, you feel more experienced, and then you're going to increase the value that you put in every single month. The important step though here is just automating the process. You need to reduce the friction when it comes to investing. So once you've set up direct debit that goes into your fund every single month, you could just not look at it for 20 years and just let it build up itself. Although you are going to want to regularly look at it and see if you want to increase the amount invested or if you want to just change what you invest in. And that's it. You know why you need to invest, and I've just given you a step-by-step way of how to get started. Investing can be as complicated as you want to make it. Some people read financial statements of businesses and follow every single news article to make their decision, whereas others like me just simplify the process, choose a fund, and think very little about it moving forward. And obviously, I prefer my option here because there's just no evidence that the people who obsess over these small details do any better. In fact, they're more likely to buy and sell more at the wrong time, meaning that they're going to perform worse. The moral of the story here is, regardless of what's happening in the world, regardless of the scaremongering and the news articles and the YouTubers telling you that the stock market is down and 2022 is a terrible time to invest, just don't listen to it. Invest every single month by dollar cost averaging and just get on with your life. Thank you for getting this far. And if you enjoyed this video, I've put together a playlist here of all the most popular investing videos that I've created. So what are you waiting for? Go and give them a watch. See you next time.